Okay, okay. Uh, Good evening, friends. Conveners of the Ghatkopar CP Study Circle, Charvik, Bhaven, Yogesh, and Mamtaben, seniors in the profession, and my fellow chartered accountant members. Friends, Ghatkopar CP Study Circle is doing wonderful job. This is the 15th session since the lockdown for attending and educating the members. I hope every members and their family members and staff all are of safe and of good health. I am thankful of Ghatkopar CP Study Circle for giving me this opportunity to study the subject and share my views on that. I am also thankful of core committee of Ghatkopar CP Study Circle and our mentor CA Nalin Parekh. With the guiding force of all the core committee and our mentor, I am here before you. Friends, now we will go to the proper subject. Friends, in the scope of presentation, first we will discuss the slablets, what is applicable for the AY 2021 for all assessees. Then in the last year, in the 2019, initially, since it was a election year, there was a first budget presented by Finance Minister Piyush Goyal, Finance Act 2019, and second budget, Finance Act number 2, 2019, presented by our Nirmala Sitharaman ji. Then there was a taxation law amendment benefit in the September 2019, and now the ITR, what is the additional disclosure. So this will be covered under the scope of presentation. Friends, coming to the individual income tax rates, there is no change in the rates, slab rates in the income tax for all type of assessee, for individual and HUF, below 60 years, 60 years to 80 years, and above 80 years. The slab rates are specified with the breakup of the income. I'm not moving to the individual item. Whenever there is a change which is proposed by the year 2019 budget, year 2019 Finance Act 1 and number 2 and ordinance, that only I will highlight. Friends, coming to the surcharge, there was a two surcharge rates previously specified for income 50 lakhs to 1 crore, 10% on the tax, and income above 1 crore up to 2 crore, income above 1 crore, 15% on the tax. But there is an amendment in the last year. There is a two more surcharge rate was specified for income above 2 crore up to 5 crore, that is a 25% on the tax, and income above 5 crore, 37% on the tax. Now this enhanced surcharge at the rate of 25% and 37% shall not be levied in case your income is assessable under section 111A, that is a short-term capital gain, 112A, long-term capital gain, or 115AD. Hence, the maximum rate of surcharge on such income, on such tax payable, shall be 15% only. So this enhanced rate, that is 25% and 37%, will not be applicable on such income. Health and education cess is 4%. There is a change in rebate under section 87A. The rebate, which was previously available up to total taxable income of 3,50,000 rupees, has been changed. Now it will be available up to 5 lakh of rupees. So suppose if any SSC is having an income of 2 rupees, 5 lakhs rupees total taxable income, he or she can avail the rebate 87A subject to the tax payable or rupees 12,500, whichever is less. So this is a change as compared to the previous year. Previous year, the rebate under section 87A was 2,500 only, which has been enhanced to rupees 12,500. And the limit for the income was 3,50,000 rupees, which has also been enhanced to 5 lakh rupees. There is no change in the cooperative society tax rates. Hence, I am moving it ahead. Partnership firm, also there is no change in tax rates. Companies, domestic companies. Domestic company with rupees 400 crore turnover in the year financial year 2017-18, tax rate will be 25% for financial year 2019-20. Then, by taxation ordinance, there is another changes whereby you can have an option to opt under section 115BAA and 115BAB, which we will discuss in detail in the later part of my presentation. So I am just the domestic company have an option. Either they can go under the normal, whereby domestic company with turnover of 400 crore up to 400 crore turnover can pay tax rate at 25%. If turnover is above 400 crore, the tax rate will be applicable 30% plus surcharge as applicable. There is no change in the surcharge. Foreign companies, there is no change in the tax rates and surcharge. Friends, this is statistics I have downloaded from the IT portal as of March 2020, whereby if you will notice, there are total 6 crore 70 lakhs returns has been filed in the financial year 2019-20. Range 1, range 2, range 3, range 4, range 5 and range 6. At the down they were given up to 5 lakh is the range 1, range 2 is 5 lakh to 10 lakh rupees of income, range 3 is 10 lakh 1 to 20 lakh of income, range 4 is 20 lakh to 50 lakhs of income, range 5 is 50 lakh to 1 crore of income, and range 6 is above 1 crore income. So if you will notice, in range 6, 1,90,221 return has been filed. This is the return statistics, which returns has been filed. Friends, if you will see, ITR 1 and ITR 4, it comprises near about 60% of the total returns filed. ITR 1 is 3 crore 28 lakhs and ITR 4 is 1 crore 54 lakhs. Out of the total 6 crore 77 lakhs returns filed during the financial year 2019-20. Friends, the current year due date has been, due to COVID, the due date has been enhanced from 31st of July 2020 to 30th November 2020 for all SSC and including audit or non-audit cases and transfer pricing cases. Transfer pricing cases initially date was 30th November 2020 only. So for them there is no change. But for the other SSCs, like individual SSC, we have a date of 31st July, and for audit SSC, we have a different date which has been enhanced. Now the date applicable would be 30th/11/2020. And as amended in the last year, tax audit report needs to be filed 1 month before. So for that, the date would be 1 month before, that is 31st October 2020. Friends, this date Friends, tax audit report, why they advance to 1 month before? Because they wants to come out pre-fill ITR with the all details of the tax audit report and whatever disallowances made in the tax audit report, that will be incorporated in the ITR, so that the filing of ITR would be easy for the SSC. Hence, they have advanced the 1 month for the filing of tax audit report. You can file both the together itself also, but pre-filled XML will not be available. It might take some time for them to process the tax audit report and pre-fill pre-fill ITR available to you. Friends, now we will study the changes which has been proposed by the Finance Act 2019, which has been presented by Finance Minister Piyush Goyal. Friends, standard deduction for salaried employee was increased to rupees 50,000 from rupees 40,000. Section 23(4), annual value previously for one self-occupied property, now two self-occupied property at the option of the SEC will be nil. So suppose if I am a owner of a two house property, so now for both the house property, the annual value will be nil and it will be considered as a self-occupied property. Section 23(5), annual value of the property consisting of any building or land appurtenant thereto held as a stock in trade, and the property or any part of the property is not let during the whole or any part of the previous year for a period up to 2 years from the end of the financial year in which certificate of completion of construction of property is received shall be nil. Friends, I will explain this with the example. Suppose I received occupation certificate for completion in the month April 2017. So for the April 2017 year ending is the 31st March 2018. So from 31st March 2018, 2 years, that is 31st March 2019 and 31st March 2020, the annual value for such property, if it is not been let out, shall be nil, and for which the corresponding changes is also made in the ITR. This is major amendment under section 54. In case capital gain, which is not exceeding 2 crore rupee, SEC has the option to purchase, construct 2 residential houses in India and to claim exemption. So if I have a capital gain of say 1.5 crore, I can purchase 2 different properties, one at say Ghatkopar, one at another places, and I can claim exemption under section 54. But this option once exercised cannot be exercised in any assessment year. Section 87A, rebate eligibility increased for income up to rupees 5 lakhs in place of 3.5 lakhs, and the amount 12,500 or tax due, whichever is less. TDS reduction under section 194I, limit has been increased to rupees 2,40,000 from rupees 1,80,000. So this was the major important and major points which was announced in the Finance Act 2019 amendments. Friends, now we will move to the Finance number 2 Act 2019 and what was the changes there. Friends, new section was introduced, section 80 EEB, to give the benefit to the purchase of the electrical vehicle and reduce the consumption of petrol diesel vehicles. If any person, any SSE pays the interest on loan taken from the financial institution for the purchase of electrical vehicle, deduction up to 1.5 lakhs in the year is available to the SSE. Friends, this deduction is available to any SSE. Even salaried employee can also claim this deduction if loan is taken from the financial institution and for the purchase of the electric vehicle and interest has been paid. The amount which is restricted is rupees 1.5 lakhs. Friends, there is a 7th proviso inserted under section 139(1) to cover some of the cases where the person was not required to furnish a return under this subsection, and there is a 3 criteria they have set, and the power has been also taken to insert further criteria. What was the criteria under the 7th proviso? 1. Has deposited an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 1 crore rupees in one or more current accounts maintained with a banking company or a cooperative bank. Second, has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 2 lakh rupees for himself or any other person for travel to a foreign country. This is the second criteria. Third, has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 1 lakh rupees towards the consumption of electricity. So these three criteria: deposited 1 crore or more in current account, has incurred expenditure of rupees 2 lakh rupees or more for himself or another person for travel to foreign country, and third, has incurred expenditure of the amount exceeding 1 lakh rupees toward the consumption of electricity or fulfilled such as the condition, shall furnish a return of income on or before due date. So even if my income is not exceeding the limit which has been specified, still if I'm satisfying these three criteria or any one of these three criteria, then I need to furnish the return. Now question may arise, suppose in case I am an employee of the company and I am doing a business travel where expenditure exceeds rupees 2 lakhs, which is paid by the employee and reimbursed, whether details needs to be furnished as the said expenditure is for business purpose. There is no clarity, friends, whether the information required is for personal or for business purpose. Looking at the sticker provisions which says has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 2 lakh rupees for himself or another person for travel to foreign country, it seems the information has to be furnished if any employee has spent the amount and it has been reimbursed. There may be another question. In many of the friends electricity bills, the name might be of the builder where I might be staying. I have not changed my account there with the Reliance, Tata Power or Adani, anyone, and I might be paying the amount. Correct? The name is of the builder or any other person or the old from which I have purchased the flat. Now looking at the strict provisions, it says has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 1 lakh. So if I have paid the amount, correct, and I am not covered for filing the return as my income does not exceed the maximum limit, and I have paid the amount, I am covered under this 7th proviso, and I need to file and I need to tick the columns, which is a disclosure which will be covered in the next presentation. Friends, there is a TDS was there at the rate 1% on the total amount received under a life insurance policy, including the bonus for the amount which was not exempt under section 1010D. So from this, the amended is section amended. Now the TDS will be at the rate of 5%, but on the amount of the income comprised therein. Previously, 1% was deducted on the whatever amount, total amount, including the bonuses. Now the 5% TDS would be on the amount of income comprised therein, and there will be no deduction if the amount does not exceed rupees 1 lakh. Friends, there is an amendment in section 194 IA. The consideration for the transfer of any immovable property for the purpose of the TDS shall include all charges of the nature of the club membership fee, car parking fee, electricity or water facility fee, maintenance fee, advance fee, or any other charges of similar nature which are incidental to the transfer of the immovable property. Friends, now by this amendment, suppose if I have booked the flat for an amount of 1 crore rupees. Previously, the TDS was deducted on 1 crore rupees, which was the agreement value. But it includes club membership fees, car parking fee, electricity or water facility charges of say 3 lakhs rupees. So now I need to calculate for the purpose of TDS that 3 lakh rupees also, and need to deduct TDS on 1 crore 3 lakhs, 1 crore agreement value plus 3 lakh rupees for these charges. New section was introduced, section 194N. Every person, banking company or cooperative society or post office who is paying aggregate of sum in excess of rupees 1 crore rupees during the previous year to any person shall deduct 2% of sum exceeding 1 crore as income tax. This was the TDS if the cash was deposited in the account. New section was introduced, section 194M. This was for any person being an individual or a HUF other than those who are required to deduct income tax as per the provision of 194C, 194H or 194J, paying any sum to any resident for what? For carrying out any work including supply of labor by way of commission or brokerage or by way of fees for professional services during the financial year shall at the time of credit of such sum or at the time of payment deduct an amount equal to 5% of the income tax. Deduction under this section shall be made only if such amount in a financial year for all of this exceeds 50 lakhs rupees. So if amount does not exceed 50 lakhs rupees, then there will be no TDS deduction. So friends, this was the amendment in Finance Act 2019 number 2. Friends, now we will cover the taxation laws amendment, which is specifically for the domestic company, which was presented as a stimulus benefit to the corporates. Two new sections was introduced, section 115BAA and section 115BAB. First, we will discuss section 115BAA. Section 115BAA, new provision with effect from AY 2021 for domestic company. This is optional. The income tax will be 22% on the total income as compared to the existing 25% or 30%. As we have discussed in the previous slides, the tax rates for the domestic company was that for which the turnover was up to 400 crore in the financial year 17-18. The tax rate was 25%, and if my turnover is more than 400 crores, the tax rate was applicable was 30%. Now, as against this tax rate, the income tax needs to be paid 22% on the total income. There will be surcharge of 10% and education cess of 4%. So effective rate will be 25.16%. Here there is no criteria for turnover, so turnover is not relevant at all. Further, if you go under 115BAA, there will be no MAT tax liability. These options to avail under this reduced rate of tax needs to be exercised in the ITR 6 filed by the due date under section 139(1), and once it is opted for 1 year, it will be automatic for subsequent years. Withdrawal is not possible. The condition for the computation of total income is without the deduction. As the benefit has been given, there is some deduction which has been taken away. So this computation of the total income without deduction under section 10AA and chapter 6A, part C other than 80JJA. So 80JJA benefit will be available. Section 32(1)(2)A, 32AD, 33AB, 33ABA, section 35(2)AA and 2AB, 35AA, 35CCC, 35CCD. Friends, we have covered 115BAA, that is for the domestic company. The new section 115BAB has been introduced. This is for the manufacturing company, and after the changes, they also cover the electricity company also. So any new manufacturing company which is incorporated after 1st October 2019 and which starts manufacturing before 31st March 2023 is eligible under this. this will be the tax rate applicable will be 15% on the total income. It should be engaged in manufacturing and production. There will be surcharge at the rate 10%, and there will be education cess at the rate 4%. So effective rate of tax will be 17.16%. Here again, there is no turnover, not relevant, and there will be no MAT liability. So under both the sections, there will be no MAT liability. However, there is some exemption which has been taken away. There will be some reduction which has been taken away. What are the essential conditions? Setup and registration. It should be company which is formed after 1st October 2019, and commencement of manufacturing maximum 31st March 2023, not formed by splitting up or reconstruction of existing business, and there are other conditions as specified. Friends, in ITR 6, Part A of the General Schedule, company is required to choose whether it is opting for any of the alternative tax regimes of the section, that is under normal 115BA, 115BAA, or 115BAB as applicable. Friends, now we will move to the proper income tax forms and what is the disclosure and amendments and what are the additional information which we need to provide. We have studied till this the changes made by the Finance Bill 2019, Finance Bill number 2 2019, and the Taxation Ordinance Amendment. Now friends, forms, there is no relevant forms are the same, like ITR 1 for individual being a resident, having a total income up to rupees 50 lakhs, having income from salary, one house property, other sources, and agriculture income up to rupees 5,000. However, if I am an individual who is a director in a company or has invested in unlisted equity shares, then I cannot file ITR 1. ITR 2 for individual and HUF not having income from profits and gains or business or profession. ITR 3 for individual and HUFs having income from profits and gains of the business or profession. ITR 4 for individual HUF partnership firms being resident having total income up to rupees 50 lakhs, having income from business and profession under section 44AD, 44ADA and 44AE, not for an individual who is either a director in a company or has invested in unlisted equity shares. So they are not eligible to file ITR 1 and ITR 4. They need to file the ITR 2 and 3 as the case may be. ITR 5 for partnership firm LLP, ITR 6 for companies other than companies claiming exemption under section 11, ITR 7 friends. Now I'm not touching the to whom the ITR 1 is applicable or ITR 1 is not applicable. Everything has been given detailed in my presentation, so I will just move it out because we need to cover the more disclosures in the ITR which is in my later part of the presentation. Only I will just rush it up. ITR 1 not applicable to individual who has any assets located outside India or signing authority in any account outside India or income from any source outside India. Income to be apportioned in accordance with the provisions of the section 5A. So any individual who is having income in accordance with section 5A is not applicable to file ITR 1. ITR 1 is also not applicable to an individual who has claimed deduction under section 57 2A other than the deduction claim under 57 2A, that is for family pension, is a director in any company, has held unlisted equity shares, or is assessable for the whole or any part of the income on which tax has been deducted at source in the hands of the person other than the assessee. So these are the persons who cannot file ITR 1. ITR 1 is also not applicable to individual who has claimed any relief under section 90 or 90A or deduction of tax under section 91, has agriculture income more than rupees 5,000, has total income exceeding rupees 50 lakhs, has taxable income under section 115 BBDA, tax on dividend from domestic company, has income in the nature of referred to in section 115 BBE, that is tax on income under section 69, 69A, 69BC. ITR 2, individual and HUF having income from salary, pension, house property, capital gain, other sources, but not having any income from business or profession. So if you have a business or professional income, you need to move to 3 and 4 as the case may be. ITR 3, deriving income from business or profession. ITR 4, individual and HUF other than not only resident, firm other than LLP which is resident, deriving income which is computed under section 44 AD, section 44 ADA or section 44 AE. Not apply. Again, the criteria which was there in ITR 1, same criteria is there in ITR 4 also. I will just rush it up. Again, the same criteria, whatever is there in ITR 1 has been there. ITR 5, applicable to the partnership firm, AOP, BOI, local authority, cooperative society, business trust, investment fund. ITR 6, applicable to the companies. ITR 7. Friends, now we will come to the information, additional information and disclosure as desired in the new ITR which has been notified. Friends, when in the January 2020, ITR 1 and ITR 4 was notified, Rule 12 was amended to provide that ITR 1 cannot be used by a person falling under two categories. Namely, first, who owns a house property in the joint name, and second, who has entered with the specified transactions mentioned in the 7th proviso. We have discussed in the earlier slides in the 7th proviso, 3 criteria was set under section 139(1), that is payment of electricity bill in excess of 1 lakh or deposit of more than rupees 1 crore in one or more current account with the bank, and has incurred on foreign travel of rupees 2 lakh. However, a person falling under the second category is allowed to furnish return in 4. Means ITR 4 was not, ITR 4 was allowed, ITR 1 was not allowed. Immediately after notifying the changes to the Rule 12, the government announced to withdraw the prohibition on 29th May 2020 on filing of return in ITR 1 and 4 by person falling in the above referred categories. So the now status is same: person owning a joint ownership property or covered under the 7th proviso can file return in ITR 1 or ITR 4 if they fulfill the other conditions. If the other conditions are eligible, they can file the return in ITR 1 and ITR 4. Friends, this is the new schedule, Schedule DI, details of the investments. As we know, due to COVID scenario, the time limit for making various payments has been extended till 30th June 2020. So if you make a payment for under section, say, for claiming deduction under section 80C for the financial year 2019-20, if you have missed the bus and you are making the payment in, say, June 20, still you can get the benefit in the financial year 2019-20. Friends, here if you see, first column is section, second column is eligible amount of the deduction, and third column is deduction attributable to the investment made between 1st April 2020 to 30th June 2020. Friends, column number 2 will directly appear from the chapter 6A. So once you feed the details in chapter 6A, suppose you have fed the details of the 1,50,000, you are claiming the exemption 1,50,000. So 1,50,000 under section 80C will automatically come in the column 2. That's why it is in highlight form. And you need to fill, suppose I have made a PPF investment in the financial year 2019-20 of 1 lakh, and I have made other 80C investments for the purpose of the last year 2019-20 in June 20 of 50,000 rupees. So this ATC deductions made attributable in the 1st April to 30th June, you need to mention here, you need to mention 50,000 rupees, which is what you made from 1st April 2020 to 30th June 2020. And here the total amount in the column 2, it will come automatically from the chapter 6 deductions what you have filled. So this is just for disclosure purpose, they are getting the information. Now a question may come, can I deposit? Suppose if for the year financial year 2019-20, I have not deposited any amount in PPF. But for taking the benefit for financial year 2019-20, I am depositing 1,50,000 PPF in June 20. So I am eligible to get the deduction. Can I deposit in July again another 1,50,000 rupees? The answer is no. As in the PPF, the overall ceiling is 1,50,000 for a year. The amendment is for the claiming. The amendment has not been made in the PPF Act. Friends, above schedule DI is for ITR 1 to 4. Now for ITR 5 to 6, suppose you made a donation. Donation you made and you want to claim in the previous year, and the amount has been paid in the year April 20 to 30th June 20. Say June 20 you paid the amount and you want to claim the deduction in the previous year. You are eligible to claim it out. You need to fill the details under column 3 here. Whatever amount additional you paid in the period April 20 to June 20 and which you are claiming in the last year. Friends, this amount of deduction eligible, whatever you paid, is for 1 year. So suppose if you, even though you paid in June 20 and you are claiming this deduction in the financial year 2019-20, you cannot claim again in the 2021, as this amount you are already claiming it off in the financial year 2019-20. This is for the ITR 5 and 6. Friends, this is also the part of the schedule, new schedule DI only, that is eligible amount for deduction under section 10AA. Then the payment for the acquisition for the purpose of the claiming deduction under section 54 or 54 GB. Amount utilized out of the capital gain account schemes. So friends, this additional disclosure you need to put whatever amount which you paid or utilized for the period April 20 to 30th June 20 and which you are claiming as an exemption or as a deduction in the previous year. This additional amount you need to specify as a disclosure under this schedule DI, which is a new schedule. This will be applicable for the current year only. Now friends, from the current year, schedule ATD has undergone a change. Previously, if you see, we were putting the details under the ATD for self and for parents. Now, current year, the deduction you need to put in the schedule ATD, and from here it will go under the main chapter 6 deductions. So in main chapter 6 deductions computation, nothing needs to be filled. You need to fill everything for the claiming deduction for schedule ATD under this schedule only, and you need to fill properly. If you see, first the question has been asked whether you or any of your family member is a senior citizen. As there are different limits for the purpose of ATD for self being a senior citizen, plus for the parents being a senior citizen. So you need to select and fill the details properly, then only the amount of eligibility, whatever is there, and amount paid, the deduction can be computed properly. So for here, if suppose I have fed the details, like I am not a senior citizen, I have paid for me for the health insurance, my health insurance 25,000. I have paid for my preventive health checkup 5,000 rupees. 25,000 for health insurance, 5,000 for preventive health checkup. The maximum eligibility is 25,000. Plus, I have paid for my parents, which are senior citizen, for their health insurance. I have paid 50,000 rupees. So that 50,000 I can claim. So 50,000 plus this 25,000 rupees, total 75,000 I can claim under section 80D. And this 75,000 figure will go, not this 75,000, this 25,000 and 50,000 will go in the main schedule of chapter 60 deductions. So you need to fill the details properly under schedule 80D to claim the deduction amount properly. Friends, in the forms which is notified, no, this schedule 80D is not there. So if you see the PDF version of the forms, ITR 1, 2, 3, 4, this schedule 80D is not there. But in the chapter 60 deductions, they have specified Dropbox would be provided. So instead of Dropbox, they have inserted full schedule for the purpose of claiming and appropriating the details. Friends, this was the additional detail to be filled by a person who is filing the return under the 7th proviso. As discussed earlier, for ITR 1, 2, 3, 4 is applicable. If you are filing return of income in pursuance of the 7th proviso, you need to select here first, are you filing return of income under proviso? You need to select yes or no. If yes, then you need to provide the information. Have you deposited amount or aggregate of amount rupees 1 crore? Amount, you need to specify the amount. Have you incurred expenditure of an amount exceeding rupees 2 lakhs for travel to a foreign country for yourself or for any other person? You need to specify the amount. Have you incurred expenditure of an amount aggregate of rupees 1 lakh on consumption of electricity? You need to specify the amount. So whatever criteria under which you are fitting, you need to fill up the amount. If you are filing the return under the 7th proviso. Friends, as in the last year, there is an amendment in the section 139A5, whereby they allow the interchangeability of Aadhaar with the PAN. Accordingly, in all the schedules, which is now specified here, that is at 13 places, they have specified you can put the details of the Aadhaar number in place of PAN number in respect of the following person. What is this? A person filing the ITR as a representative SSC. For auditor, even for the auditor, you put instead of PAN, Aadhaar number is allowed. Debtors for which bad debt of rupees 1 lakh or more is claimed, for there also the debtors, if it is an individual, this is all Aadhaar will be applicable for all individual cases. So in all cases of individual, wherever it is possible, the interchangeability of PAN with Aadhaar is there. So in all these cases, you can put the Aadhaar number in place of PAN. Co-owner of the house property, D. Tenant of the house property, E. Buyer of the immovable property transferred during the year, a person whose tax credit claimed by the SSC, tenant buyer who was related tax at source, key person and person verifying return of a company, person holding 10% or more of the voting power in the case of unlisted company, sellers of the unlisted companies, including startups, person whose income is clubbed with the income of the SSC, and the spouse governed by the Portuguese Civil Code. Thus, in all these cases, you can, in place of the PAN, you can put the details of the Aadhaar. Friends, there are Real Estate Investment Trust, REITs, Infrastructure Investment Trust, InvITs, and Category 1 and Category 2 Alternate Investment Funds, AIF. Such entity is allowed to pass to its income without paying taxes, and consequently investors are liable to pay the tax. At present in the stock exchange, there are 3 REITs which is listed. One is IndiGrid InvIT, then there is a second is a IRB InvIT, and third is a Embassy REIT, that is a real estate one. So in all these cases, what happens, friends? They distribute the income to the investors. So like IndiGrid, they distribute interest every quarterly to the investors. So investors needs to pay tax on that income. As this income is passed through, as the InvITs and REITs need not has to pay the tax on their income. They are passing the income to the investors, and they are deducting TDS also on the interest income. And this income needs to be offered by the investor in their returns. So for which the disclosure in the ITR under the house property, under the capital gains, and under the income from other sources. The REIT and InvIT are allowed to pass through dividend and interest received from the SPV, special purpose vehicles, and REITs are allowed to have the rental income earned from the real estate property, whereas category 1 and category 2 AIF, alternative investment funds, are allowed to pass through any income except income from business or profession. Friends, these are the disclosures in the relevant ITR forms, ITR 2356. The pass-through income or loss in the form of short-term capital gain, Schedule HP3, pass-through income or loss if any under Schedule house property, and under the capital gains in the short term, same way in the long term also, pass-through long-term income capital gain. Plus, you need to fill the details in the Schedule PTI. You need to select, if you see the column 2, investment entity covered by section 115 UA, UB, you need to select drop down, the name of the business trust, the PAN of the business trust or investment trust, then current year income, the share of the current year loss distributed by investment fund, net income, and TDS on such income. Under the house property, capital gains, and other sources, this whatever details you received by an investor from InvIT and REIT has to offer under the income from pass-through entity, and they can claim the TDS on such amount also. Friends, Finance Act 2020, with effect from the assessment year 2020-21, has made amendment for the purpose of giving benefit to the small MSMEs and small business enterprises, whereby in case if your turnover is between 1 crore to 5 crore and your all receipts and payments, including receipts and payments from the partners and from loan or from any other transaction, is more than 95% in check, then there is no requirement of audit, tax audit under section 44AB for such SECs. So for such, the disclosure is provided in the forms. What is the disclosure? You need to select whether SEC is declaring income only under section 44AE, 44ABA. If no, if you say no, if no, whether during the year total turnover or gross receipts of the business exceeds 1 crore but does not exceed rupees 5 crores, you need to provide yes or no. If yes is selected, whether aggregate of all amount received, including received for sales, turnover, or gross receipts, or on capital account, like capital contributions, loan, etc. during the previous year, in case does not exceed 5% of the said amount. So for all the amount received for the sales, turnover, or on capital account, like capital contribution from the partners for loans, total should not exceed in cash 5%. Friends, how we will determine this 5%? That will be the moot question. And this 5% for the sales is not a only criteria. There is another criteria also. If you go down, if yes is selected at 2(1), whether aggregate of all payments made, including amount incurred for expenditure or on capital account, such as asset acquisition, repayment of loans in cash during the year, does not exceed 5% of the said payment. So your all payment, including your routine expenses, including your purchases, including your miscellaneous expenses, including your asset acquisition, repayment of loan, in cash, it should not exceed 5%. So basically, for determining the 5%, you need to take the cash book and determine the amount received in cash book and compare with the total amount. If it is fitting under the criteria, if it is a 95% or more is received in other than cash form, and you are also meeting the criteria of the payments, then you are eligible, and you are between 1 crore to 5 crore, then there is no need to do audit under section 44AB. And you can offer any income which has been declared in the return of income without audit. Friends, this is a section 11 schedule 112A, that is details of shares or equity oriented fund or units of a business trust on which STT is paid under 112A. Friends, we are all aware about this schedule, as this schedule was introduced in the last year itself only, and then there was a representation made to the finance ministry, and the finance ministry has made this schedule optional in the last year. In last year means financial year 18-19, whereby they have clarified that you don't put any detail under this schedule. In the main schedule, you can put the total amount, whatever is determined. But the current year, you need to fill this schedule. Now, what is a hardship? The hardship is you need to fill the details through. Now I will go through the columns. First we will go through the columns, what are the details required, and then I will tell you what is the hardship in this. ISIN code. So for the shares and units, ISIN code, you need to search it out and you need to put name of the share or unit, number of shares or unit, sale price per share unit, full value of the consideration, total share value, cost of acquisition without indexation, higher of 8 and 9, cost of acquisition, if the long-term asset was acquired before 1/2/2018, lower of 6 and 11, fair market value of the share unit as on 31st January 2018, total fair market value of the capital asset as per section 55 to AC, expenditure wholly incurred in connection with the transfer, total deductions, and balance of long-term capital gain. So friends, you will notice that with this, for all long-term capital gains which is claimed under this, whereby the grandfathering is there and you are replacing the fair market value, you need to put the details ISIN wise for each script wise. Friends, putting these details in cases where the transactions are more than 50 or 100 for each SEC would be very Herculean task, and it requires so many efforts because there can be error can happen. We know this all schedules are put filled by our employee only, and we are just cross checking it. So first they needs to be taught how the schedules needs to be filled up, and then accordingly for this ISIN number and everything needs to be taken and you need to fill it out. Further, for shares, ISIN number is not an issue. You can download the files which is available and from where you can get it out. In the Google also it is available. But for the mutual funds, whereby in the same scheme, there is a direct scheme. If suppose I apply mutual fund directly on the website of the mutual fund, then I am eligible under direct. If I purchase mutual fund through a broker, then it is called regular mutual funds. So one is a direct, one is a regular. Third, there is a dividend investment. If suppose mutual fund company is declaring the dividend and dividend is reinvested in the additional units. So for all this, getting the ISIN number and putting the details, it will increase hardship to us, and we need to fill the details properly. Previously, these details were supposed to be taken from the stock exchange and to appear in 26As. But I have not seen in any 26As these details are appearing. Hence, I think these details needs to be filled by us only. Unless this is made optional as it was made in the previous year. Friends, to boost the demand for the motor vehicles, as motor vehicle industry was going under the major recession, CBDT wide notification number 69 2019 dated 29/2019 with retrospective effect from 23rd August 2019 has given the benefit of higher depreciation rate for whosoever who purchases the motor car, motor buses, motor lorries during the period of time from 23rd August 2019 to 31st March 2020 and put to use before 31st March 2020. Now, what is the higher rate of depreciation? For motor cars, I am on the column 2. For motor car, other than those used in the business of running them on hire, acquired between 23rd August 2019 and 31st March 2020 and is put to use on or before 31st March 2020, the rate of depreciation is 30%. So normal motor car, the rate of depreciation is 15%. For this, to give the benefit to the auto industry, the rate of depreciation was increased to 30%. And for motor buses, motor lorries, it was increased from 30% to 45%. Again, the same criteria, it should be acquired between 23rd August 2019 and 31st March 2020 before and is put to use on or before 31st March 2020. Friends, for transfer pricing, the Finance Number 2 Act 2019 has made changes to the provision of the secondary adjustment. In case if there has been excess amount remitted to the associated enterprise and such excess amount or money which is lying with the associated enterprise, if not repatriated to India within the time, then the option is given to the SEC to pay additional income tax at the rate of 18% on such excess money or part thereof, further increased by surcharge of 12% and health education cess of 4%. If such additional income tax is paid, the SEC shall not be required to make a secondary adjustment or compute interest from the date of such payment of tax. And for this, a new schedule TPSA has been incorporated in the ITR. The new schedule seeks the details of the amount of the primary adjustment, additional tax payable, and details of the tax payment. Friends, the new ITR form requires the SEC to provide the DIN of the notice in response to which he is filing the return of income. As you all aware that from 1st October 2019, any notices, any correspondence issued by the income tax authority will have a document identification number. So if you are filing the return or making any reply, you need, or you are filing the return in response to the receipt of the notice, then you need to put in the ITR the DIN of the notice, DIN number you need to put it off. In the new ITR form, the SEC has been given an option to choose multiple bank accounts for the payment of the refund. However, the refund will be credited to one of the account as decided by the CPC after processing of the return of the income tax return. So you need to, if suppose I am having a 3 bank accounts, I can put the 3 bank accounts details and CPC will process the refund and will send the refund to my any of the bank account. Now very important care has to be taken, friends, by all the persons, all the CAs. There is a, with effect from 1st April 2020, many banks merger has happened. Dena Bank has been like merged with the Bank of Baroda, OBC. So many banks merger has happened. So you need to fill the proper bank details. If you have any bank account other than this old merged bank account, better you put that account, as in slow, after the passage of the time, the IFSC code of the merged bank, means old bank, Dena Bank, will become inactive. Like what happened in the SBI case. SBI, State Bank of India, State Bank of Patiala, State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Bikaner, Jaipur, all were merged with the SBI. They were all having the previously separate IFSC code. But after the passage of time, the IFSC code has changed of SBI, State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Bikaner and Jaipur, and they were given the IFSC code of SBI. So it should not happen that your refund is withheld on account of these details. So kindly put the IFSC code and the bank details of the proper bank account and take utmost care in case of this merged bank, because we are not aware that whether this IFSC codes of the merged bank like Dena Bank or Orient will be active. Hence, if suppose information is available for the other bank account, then better you put the other bank account detail first and then you put the bank account details of these other merged banks. Friends, this is the provision relating to trust. The Finance Act 2020 has made changes in the provision applicable to the NGOs by introducing a new section, section 12AB, replacing the section 12AA, and bringing in similar amendments in section 1023C and section 80G. These changes were originally effective from 1st June 2020. The government has issued a press release on 9th May 2020 to defer the implementation of the new procedure for approval registration notification to 1st October 2020, under which all the NGOs, all the trusts which are previously registered were need to re-register themselves at IT portal, for which the utility is yet to arrive on the IT portal. They all need to put the details as desired under the re-registration and to take the re-registration of all the trust. Previously the registration was given perpetual, hence once it was registered, unless it is cancelled by the authority, the registration will become continued. But now by making an replacing the section 12AA with the new section 12AB, the government issued a press release whereby this all needs to, this all changes were supposed to be effective from 1st June 2020, which has been now deferred till 1st October 2020. Trust or institution which has been granted perpetuity of registration under section 12A, 12AA or approval under section 1023C or section 80G are required to make application again under the new section 12AB or amended provisions of section 1023C or section 80G within 3 months from 1st October 2020. That is by 31st December 2020. However, details in ITR can only be filled if the application is done. So suppose if you are filing the ITR in say October month, but you have not made the application for the registration, then you need to put the old details and the other details column will not be filled. Now, which are the columns that we will go in the next slide? It is there. Friends, this is the column which need to fill under the ITR 7. Details of the registration or approval under the Income Tax Act, mandatory if required to be registered, section under which registered or approved, date of registration or approval. This will be the old details. Approval registration number, approving registration authority. So these details are the old details which can be filled up. Now here, new, whether application for registration is made as per the new provisions. If you have already applied for the registration, you need to select section under which registration is applied, date on which the application for registration approval is as per new provision made. So you need to put the date on which you have made the application, section of the exemption opted under the new provisions. So section under the which you opted for the exemption, and you need to put the details of the registration or approval under any law other than the Income Tax Act, law under which registered, date of registration or approval, approval notification number, approving registering authority. So you need to put the details, law under which registered, date of registration or approval, approval notification number, approving registering authority. Finance Act 2020 has provided that the corpus donations to institutions referred to in subclause 4 or subclause 5 or subclause 6 or subclause 6A of section 1023C shall not be considered as an application of income. So suppose if one institution or trust making a corpus donation to another institution or trust, then Finance Act has said that it shall not be considered as an application of income. Now new form ITR 7 seeks the details from you, donation other than the corpus as against the classification of the donation required until last year. So last year you need to put the details of the only donation, but now it seeks details donation other than the corpus and corpus rather than the corpus. Further, column has been introduced to specifically report the donation forming part of the corpus fund in the part C of schedule ER. Further, in the schedule ER, donations forming part of the corpus fund details needs to be put in ITR 7. Further, as you know, section 43B has been amended by Finance number 2 Act 2019 to provide that any interest payable on any loan or borrowing taken from a deposit taking NBFC or systematically important non-deposit taking NBFC would be as a deduction only on actual payment. So if the payment has not been made before the due date of the filing of the return of such interest, you will not get a deduction for such interest amount from your taxable income. So for which they've inserted a separate line item in all ITR. ITR applicable would be it's ITR 3, ITR 5 and ITR 6, whereby you need to put the details of the amount, if any, payable and has been paid before the filing of the due date, as reduction would be allowable only on actual payment under section 43B. You need to put a separate reporting, you need to do a separate reporting for this in ITR. Friends, Finance Act 2020 has amended section 140 with effect from AY 2021 to enable, in case for a company there is no managing director or to any other person as may be prescribed by the board to verify the return of income of a company. Accordingly, the new ITR 6 incorporates the reference of the eligible person who is verifying the return in the schedule of the key person. You need to put the following details in respect of such person, in respect of such key person who can sign the ITR. In case of for the company, you need to put the details: name, designation, residential address, PAN Aadhaar number, director identification number issued by MCA. So this all details needs to be put for the purpose of the key person who is signing the return for the company as per the amended section 140. Friends, as there is an amendment in section 23(5) whereby the period after the end of the last day of the year from 1 year to 2 years has been extended. Considering this, the changes has been made in ITR 5 and 6, whereby option to choose self-occupied property has been provided under house property schedule. So where the annual value of the property is taken as nil, the SEC can enter the details of the self-occupied property as well. So friends, suppose if it is a partnership firm who is filing ITR 5 and is executing a building project whereby already he has got the certificate of completion in April 2017 and he is filing for March 20. So as per this change, as per the amended provisions, he is eligible for the 2 years benefit. He need to put in the scheduled house property under the self-occupied property whatever the flats which has not been sold or which has not been let out, to claim the annual value of such property as nil. So in ITR 5 and ITR 6, at both places the amendment has been made. Friends, now you need to report a type of a company if the assessee is a director in a company or holding unlisted equity shares. These changes are in ITR 2, ITR 3 and 7. So the utility will provide a drop-down list of the type of the company and the SEC has to choose as the case applicable, whatever the case would be there, you need to choose the type of the company properly. In the case of a SEC being a director in a company or holding unlisted equity shares. Friends, this ends the presentations. I have tried to cover the important, which are the changes which has been there as proposed and as has been there in the Finance Act 2019, Finance Act number 2 2019, Taxation Amendment Ordinance, and in the Finance Act 2020, which are applicable with effect from the assessment year 2020-21. I am thankful of the Ghatkopar Civil Study Circle for giving me this opportunity. Charvik, can we take the questions now?
Is given.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Manish bhai.
Yes, Charvik.
Yeah, shall we take the questions?
Yes.
Manish bhai, yeah. Questions are,
Yeah.
for claiming deduction under section 80C, I have deposited rupees 1
Yes.
lakh for financial 1920 and it was 50,000 for financial 2021. 1 lakh in 1920 and 50,000 in
Yes.
2021. Do I have to put
Right.
1,50,000 in such schedule 6A?
Yeah, I will come to the respective schedule. 1 second. In the slide, I will come.
Okay, sir. Yeah, yeah.
See, Bhavin.
Yes, sir.
In the main schedule, in the chapter 60 deductions, you need to put the 1,50,000 full amount.
Okay.
From that 1,50,000 full amount will come automatically in this column 2.
Fine.
That is in schedule DI. Automatically 150 will come.
Okay.
Now, for a disclosure purpose, whatever investment which you have made for a period, 1st April 20 to 30th June 2020, that is the 50,000 rupees. That only amount you need to specify in the column 3.
Fine, sir.
This column 2 is totally blank. It will be amount will come up automatically from the main schedule. Yes, it will be auto-populated amount.
Fine, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir. Second question.
Yeah.
Whether deposit can be rather than cash also, say check or DD. This is, I think, regarding
Which
for
deposit,
your
which
44.
Hello.
Okay, so should I go as per the chat only?
Yeah. Send me the questions. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Whether deposit can whether deposit can be other than cash also, say checks or DD. I think this is regarding your 5% question.
5% for the tax audit you are saying?
Yeah, I think the question is related to that only.
So deposits can be, yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Sorry, it is regarding this question is regarding 7 proviso to 139 है ना, 1 करोड़ के डिपॉजिट जो है ना, उसमें जो वन ऑफ द कंडीशन के डिपॉजिट इन एनी करंट अकाउंट शुड नॉट एक्सीड 1 करोड़, तो वो डिपॉजिट यूज किया तो उसमें वो कैश और चेक दोनों आएगा कि कैसे, सिर्फ कैश का मतलब पकड़ना अपने को सर?
नहीं, if you read the proviso, no, it says the deposits, it doesn't use the word cash.
हाँ sir, so here I want to know whether does it mean that it should be cash or check or all inclusive, cash, check, DD, or if you deposit 1 crore in any current account, whether it is cash or whether it is check, then in that case this proviso will be applicable.
Correct. So you need to consider all together. So suppose I will give the example. Suppose you deposit 60 lakhs cash and you deposit 50 lakh check. Then by the proviso will hit you.
Okay. I also below that.
It doesn't use the word cash of 1 crore.
Right, sir.
Correct, no?
Okay, sir. Okay. We both are having same opinion, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So second question.
Yeah.
This is regarding section 194 IA.
Yes.
Now, registration fees and stamp duty also to be included, as it is ancillary for the transfer of immovable property. So section 80M deduction will be allowed.
Stamp duty now is not to be included.
Not to be included.
No, registration fee, stamp duty is not to be included. See what it says. I will come to that. 1 second.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I will come to that slide.
Okay, sir. So these all questions I'm reading from the chat with the participant is posting.
Yeah, no problem. See, we have the time. No, there is no issue. No, just
yeah,
I will. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. See, Bhavin,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
if you see it, the constitution for transfer of any movable property shall include all
Yeah.
charges of the nature of the club membership fee,
Remember.
car parking fee, electricity or water electricity fee,
Oh,
maintenance fee,
fine.
advance fee, or any other charges of the similar nature. So this
Okay.
only has to be included. So suppose if my agreement is of 1 crore rupees, I am paying for as a club membership fee of 2 lakh rupees. I am paying for a car parking fee of 1 lakh rupees. Electricity and water deposit fee is 50,000 rupees. So this 2 lakh, 1 lakh plus 50,000 rupees is 3.5 lakh rupees plus my 1 crore agreement. So on 1
Yes,
crore,
sir.
3 lakh 50,000, I need to deduct TDS.
Okay,
Am I
fine.
clear?
Understood, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So not be included. Fine, sir. Okay. Now, for claiming deduction under ATC,
Yeah.
this question already taken. Okay. Now, 7th proviso to section 101. If property is in joint name, say husband 70% and wife 30%, and
Right.
if yearly electricity bill is 1.10 lakh paid by
Right.
husband, is
Yes.
this provision affected?
Yeah. Means see, suppose if the payment is made, now we'll come to the respective 7th proviso section. 1 second. Huh?
Yes, sir. A participant request, please unmute yourself. You're getting some disturbance. Participant, please unmute yourself. Sorry, you mute yourself.
See this. What
Yes,
it says, we are on this has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of amount exceeding 1 lakh rupees
1 lakh.
towards consumption of electricity.
Yes, sir.
So suppose if I and my wife is owning a house,
Yes, sir.
both are say equal ownership,
Yeah.
50-50%.
Yeah.
Electricity payment of more than 1 lakh rupees is made from my account.
Yeah.
Then this 7 proviso is attributed to me. As
Okay.
I am incurring the expenditure of an amount of aggregate exceeding 1 lakh rupees towards the consumption of electricity.
Okay.
There can be the
Sir,
two views.
Huh.
There can be the two views. Some says that if suppose the electricity bill is coming in the name of my wife,
Yeah, yeah.
correct? Even though I am paying, then my wife is also attracted by 7th proviso. But in my view, if the payment is made from my account to me only, this proviso will hit.
Suppose, sir, in this case only, suppose we
Yeah.
have seen that sometimes what happens is that both of them have a joint account in bank.
Right.
So if the amount
right.
is made from the joint account, then what is the
Right.
situation?
See,
Whether both are
Bhavin,
required to
you-
report?
yes. Even if the both is having a joint account, see,
Yeah.
generally in the joint account cases, tell me in the income tax while filing the assessment, you will consider this account under which? You will consider under both, or you will consider under the one account only?
We will make mostly we have bifurcation only. We'll make the bifurcation.
So you will, yeah. So accordingly, you will consider say in husband's, or you will make a wife account only,
Yeah.
or to bifurcate each and every entry. I think so
Yes.
would be a very difficult task.
Fine.
So in my view, if the payment has been made by husband, even though
Okay.
payment electricity bill is coming in the name of the wife,
Yeah.
as both are the joint holder, correct now?
Okay.
Still, this proviso will be hit to the husband only who had made the payment.
Fine, sir.
If you see,
Understood.
the second proviso also for the foreign traveling has incurred an expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 2 lakh for himself or any other person for travel to foreign country. So
Yes, sir.
suppose I am sponsoring you trip to Switzerland and I am paying from my account 3 lakh rupees. I will hit by the provision
Yes, sir.
as I am spending the amount for any other person.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Here it is, but in third it is clearly saying that it is for himself or any other person.
Yes,
There it
correct.
is
That is
here,
in the
it is
second.
clear
That is in the
for
second.
any other. Yeah, second it is clear that
That
for
is in
any
second,
other
yes,
person is
correct.
also.
Correct.
So in case of electricity, we have to go through that. In here it does not exceed 1 lakh, or if it exceeding, then you give check from two account and can avoid this proviso, attraction of this proviso in some cases.
Yes. See, if you read the strictly, what it says has incurred expenditure of an amount or aggregate of the amount exceeding 1 lakh rupees. So now suppose if the amount is spent from the two account, correct, whereby the amount is not exceeding 1 lakh rupees in each account, and both are the joint holder, I think this 7 proviso will not attract to any person at all. If the amount has been paid
Excuse
in
me,
the
sir.
joint account. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir, with respect to foreign traveling, if the payment is done from the HUF account, okay, and husband and wife are traveling, now in that circumstance, the payment is made from HUF, so in ITR of HUF, this detail has to be shown.
Yes, you will be hit by the 7th provision. Eh?
So in that circumstance, when I
see what it says,
husband or wife, I don't have to show anything.
Yes, correct. See,
So
if you read the
detail when I give my passport.
Yeah, if you read the provision, what it says, has incurred expenditure of an amount exceeding 2 lakh rupees for himself or any other person for travel to a foreign country.
So the thing is that my passport number, which I have to now mention in my ITR,
right?
Through the passport, the department will come to know that I have made a foreign travel, but I am not reflecting in my IT return. Will it create a problem?
Yeah, correct. So it is better to avoid the problem, make a payment from the account of the individual itself only, not from the HUF.
Okay.
The person who is
Manish,
traveling.
a little bit faster. Manish, we do a little bit faster. Many questions are there. Line up. I request participants, please do not interrupt in between. Any question, please write to Charvik on a chat window. We have many questions line up, and so we have only 25 minutes, so we have to move some faster, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Next question, Bhavin, please.
Yeah. Regarding 44 AD, there is an amendment in 44 AD. So if the cash transactions, say receipts of payment, does not exceed 5% criteria, but if the net profit is less than 6% or 8%, and my turnover is also less than 2 crore, whether I am liable for audit?
No, if suppose you are showing income above 6% or 8% SKBB,
I am showing less. I am showing less.
You are showing less. So
yeah.
Okay. So your turnover is how much?
My turnover is less than 5 crore. Sorry, 2 crore. My turnover is less than 2 crore.
Right.
My net profit is less than 6% or 8%.
Right.
And cash transaction does not exceed 5%. The criteria.
No, 5% criteria will not apply at all. No, cash transaction usage does not exceed. Does not exceed.
It's not exceeding more than 5%. More than 5% of the total payment.
Okay. So it means 95% is in the check transaction, correct?
Yes.
For both, for the sales and for the payment also, correct?
Yes.
Then you will be benefited by this amendment, no, which has been made by Finance Act 2020.
So no audit is required.
There is no audit will be required.
Okay.
In case your this 5% criteria you are meeting, correct? There will be no audit, even if the profit is below 6% or 8%.
Okay, sir. Understood, sir.
Can I interpret?
And same will be applicable to your turnover, even if it will be 4 crore.
Sir,
same thing will apply.
Please don't interpret, sir. Please. Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah. Same thing will apply even if your turnover is 4 crore rupees. Same thing will apply. Same benefit will be taken by you if you are meeting the 5% criteria on the both sides.
Understood. Okay, sir.
Manish.
Okay.
Yes.
Manish, in case you are covered by 44 AD, in case if your turnover is less than 2 crore, if it is more than 1 crore, or let's say forget 1 crore, less than 2 crore, okay,
right?
Then you are still required to follow the discipline of that 6%, 6% or 8%. Then you don't stand to benefit.
Suppose
be extended only in case if you exceed the 2 crore and up to 5 crore. This is how, to my mind, it has to be read.
Then
because
what the amendment? Yes, the 44 AD there is no amendment, but 44 AB amendment has been made by inserting the clause. Correct now, whereby they have covered from 1 crore to 5 crore.
Yeah, but 44 AD still stands independent, no?
Correct, but I will say I will not go to the 44 AD. I will go to 44 AB only, and in 44 AB I am satisfying. So why I will do? There is need to do audit if I am satisfying the 44 AB.
Manish, there is separate clause for audit or below 2 crores. So that clause will apply to you.
Yes,
So you
yes.
cannot escape the audit if you do not want to show more than 6%.
Okay.
Yeah.
This,
Yes,
this was the
4480 is
position
applicable.
earlier also, that if you are
Okay.
falling between 1 and 2 crore, there is a separate proviso which they have made.
Correct. Correct.
So that will take care of the audit if you do not show the presumptive tax.
Okay. So, Nalin bhai, in your view, if suppose my turnover is 1.5 crore, correct? I am meeting the criteria of 95% check transaction.
You are not covered by that criteria at all because you are covered by other clause.
Okay.
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 This
44
benefit is
ABS,
given.
44 ABS 1, 2, 3, 4 clause.
Okay.
And there is a proviso.
No, but then the proviso, then they should increase the proviso from 2 to 5 crore. No, why the proviso they inserted from 1 crore?
Money is independent of 44 AB 5 crore. The
Okay.
audit was applicable for 1 to 2 crores if they do not show the presumptive tax. So that continues.
Okay. So myself to be corrected for this 1 to 2 crore. Bhavin bhai, please.
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, sir. Shall
Bhavin,
we go ahead?
Bhavin, there
Yes,
are other
yes.
other questions also related to 44 AB. You can take that also.
Okay. As there are no, sorry, it already taken. Okay. Sir, for payment and receipts of 5%, would cash deposit or withdrawn from bank will be counted?
Cash deposit, no, it will
Or
not be counted.
Means cash will be, contract is not be considered.
No, it will not be counted. It will not be counted.
Fine, fine. Now, sir, this is a question on surcharge. On
Okay.
surcharge, a normal income 2 crore and short-term and
Right.
capital gain income of say 50 lakhs.
Right.
What will be the rate of surcharge? Is there any surcharge payable on short-term and long-term capital gain?
No,
So normally,
there will be surcharge up to 15%.
okay,
The changed which was made in the Finance Act by increasing the surcharge of 25% and 37%, which they have retraced afterwards after the FPI has made a very hue and cry. So what they said, this 25% and 37% change, which is above 2 crore income for the surcharge, will not be applicable on any income which is in the nature of capital gain
capital gain.
derived under 111A or 112A.
Yes, sir.
So maximum rate of surcharge on the capital gain income would be 15% only. So in your case, the maximum rate of surcharge would be 15% only.
50%. Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. 23.5, section 23.5 related question.
Yes.
In these cases, where property is not let out for first 2 years, then assessee is not
First 2
taxed
years.
for property. Yeah, the assessee is not taxed
Right.
for property as deemed to be let out. What
Right.
if the first year it was let out, but in second year, say 1920 financial year, it was not let out? Whether benefit is still available for the second year, or he has to offer as deemed income?
No, benefit is available, no?
Still available.
Yeah, it will be available. See, if you read the section 23.5, it says if not let out.
Yes,
Correct?
sir.
So as you are covered, you are not let out. In the first year, it was let out. In the second year, it was not let out. So benefit
Not
will
let
be
out.
still be available.
Fine, sir. In an individual case, he has went
Yes.
abroad for studies, having interest
Okay.
income in India, and also having bank account in foreign country for his expenses. Whether he can
Okay.
file ITR1 Sahaj,
No.
he cannot file.
ITR 1, if you have a foreign bank
Sahaj.
account, you cannot file.
Okay, fine. Sir, in ITR, in Schedule DI,
Yes.
deduction
Schedule
under
DI,
section 8, there is mediclaim. Deduction under section 80D mediclaim paid for the financial 1920 was 15,000 and paid
Right.
in 2021 till 30th June 20 is 25,000. What
Right.
deduction individual or HF will get under section 80D? Will it make any
HUF
difference
or individual? HUF or individual, you're talking.
if he has written what deduction an individual or HF will get?
So
I think we'll go for individual.
we will talk about the individual. Correct now?
Individual.
I will
Yeah.
come to the schedule DI. 1 second. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
See, as I explained to you for ATC, no, same details
sir.
we need to fill it up, but still I will
Okay.
explain it to you with the schedule DI only. Yes. See,
Hmm.
here in ATD, in
Yes,
the
sir.
you need to put the details in schedule this. Sorry,
Okay.
this ATD.
Hmm.
Correct. Now this new schedule is there for ITR 1, 2, 3, and 4
Yes, sir.
for claiming any amount in ATD. Now
Okay.
you paid 15,000 rupees
Hmm.
in the financial year 1920, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in 2021 you paid how much?
In 2021, say I have paid 25,000 from
25,000
April 20 to June
before
20.
30th June. Before 30th
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
Before 30th June. Correct. So now 15 plus 25. Overall, what is the cap? 25,000 cap is there for individual below 60 years.
Yes. Yes,
Correct
sir.
now. You are eligible to claim maximum 60,000 rupees. In fact, you will lose the benefit. It is advisable for you
Okay.
to claim 15,000 rupees in the last year and claim 25,000 in the current year in
Then yes.
2021.
Okay. Understood, sir.
Got it, no?
Fine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So this is regarding the bank details to be given in ITR.
Yes.
Assessee has to furnish all bank accounts details in ITR field. It is discussed that for refund case, option is available with assessee to
Right.
opt for one or more bank accounts. Whether assessee
Correct.
can opt for any single account only as was done in past, or is to mention all
Yes.
the accounts.
Yes. See, he has to mention the all accounts. Suppose if I have 4 bank accounts, I need to put the details of the all 4 bank accounts with bank account number, IFSC code detail. In the pre-validated option,
Okay.
what you do, you pre-validate the account in which you want a refund,
Yes, sir.
and accordingly you will get a refund. But suppose for some cases, like there is a problem with your
Yeah.
IFSC code in that, or pre-validation has not been done, then CPC
Yes, sir.
will automatically select the second or third bank account while processing, and it will send the refund to you in the second or third bank account. If first bank account there is a failure is there.
Yes, sir. Understood. Automatically. Fine.
Yeah.
Regarding SOP income, it says that Mr. A is having more.
Yeah.
So continue. If the Mr. A is having more than 2 house properties, then
Right.
also he can claim 2 properties as SOP.
Any 2 property at his choice he can claim. So suppose if I have 4 properties,
Yes, sir.
correct? Now I can
Yeah.
I can choose 2 as a self-occupied property, and I need
Yes,
2
sir.
income offer for the other 2 property as a deemed let out property.
Understood. Fine.
The option is available to the SEC. Any 2 property he can select.
Yes, sir. Okay. Fine. This is in case of NRI. Can
Okay.
an NRI claim any one house property in India as SOP, despite of the fact that he has not visited India for any days in India? He has not visited in India. In spite of that fact, can he claim one property or can 2 property as SOP?
I need to check. For NRI, I am not aware. I think he
Okay,
can eligible to claim, but I need to still check it out.
મનીષભાઈ બંને પ્રોપર્ટી બે પ્રોપર્ટી કરી શકે.
બે property કરી શકે ને? Okay.
Yeah,
But so there is
See,
Mehul bhai, there is no
if you are
difference
not-
between the NRI
Even-
resident and non-resident Indian, correct?
self-occupied means even a lock and key is self-occupied, no? It is under my occupancy.
Correct.
fine, sir.
Correct. So Bhavan bhai,
Thank you.
for the 2 property for the NRI you can claim it off.
Thank you. Thank you,
As
sir.
a so yeah.
Okay. So this is for due date. Due date of ITR of a partner
Right.
of a firm which is under audit, tax audit. The firm is on tax audit. So due date for the
Right.
partner will be 30th November or 31st October.
30th November.
November. Fine.
Only
Uh,
tax audit report for a partnership firm or for company
Right.
or for individual to whom section 44AB applies needs to be
30th
filed as of 31st October.
Fine, sir. Under what circumstances Sugam can't be used even if one is eligible for filing up Sugam? Means when we cannot file
Under
Sugam,
what
even if
circumstances?
Yeah.
See what happens. You can use always higher version of the form. Like suppose if I'm having a business income, correct?
Yeah.
I am eligible under filing that Sugam ITR 4, but still I can file the return in ITR 3. So higher version is allowed. From higher to lower version is not allowed.
Understood. Fine, sir. So once again, a question of 4480. What if
Yeah.
my turnover is more than 2 crore, but less
More
than
than 2
5 crore?
Right.
More than 2 crore, less than 5 crore. So no audit is applicable. And then say if turnover is 3 crore, and whether I can show profit of 3% without doing audit, can file return or show profit 8% and file return 4480. It means he's saying if my turnover is 3 crore,
Right.
and I am fulfilling the criteria of 5%, can I
Right.
still file under 4480 by showing it 8%?
By showing it under 8%.
Yeah.
See, once you are about 2 crore, as explained
Yes,
by Mehul Bhai and Lin Bhai present, so about 2
Yes, sir.
crore is there, and you are satisfying the 5% criteria. You can show any income, as audit will not be applicable to you till 5 crore. Huh?
Okay.
So you can show any income. You can show income of 2% or you can show income of 10%.
Answer. Got it. Fine.
Only thing is that the 95% criteria should be satisfied on both the sides.
Understood.
Even he
what
can show
happens-
losses, Manish, he can show losses also. Only thing is
Yes,
that
correct.
immunity will be available. Of books of account and all that, immunity is not there once you cross 2 crore rupees.
Fine, fine.
Okay. Okay.
So your in case if you show losses, let's say you have turnover of 5 crore rupees or maybe 4.5 crore rupees, and you show only 2% as your profit income, or let's say losses, then your case may be selected for scrutiny, and then you cannot say that I have not maintained books of account.
Books of account. Fine,
In
sir.
case if you are below 2 crore rupees and show 8% or 6% as the case may be, then you are immune from preparing books of account.
Maintaining books of
And
accounts.
even if assessment is taken up, you can say that I'm not supposed to show you books of account.
Fine, sir.
Got it?
Yes, it is only the exclusion is provided is only for the audit purpose. Rest of things Mehul Bhai has clearly explained. So that immunity part is not there, as well as only audit exclusions are been allowed between 2 to 5 crore, and less income can be declared, but there will be always a risk of assessment scrutiny.
Fine, sir. Thank you, Mehul Bhai. Thank you, Mahendra Bhai. Thanks. Manish Bhai, shall I take another question?
Yes. Yeah.
If you pay electricity bill and get reimbursed
Yes.
in cash, electricity bill paid by credit card and parties individual. I'm not able to understand. Okay, sorry. What happens? The electricity expenses is recovered from sister company. Then who has to report it?
See, first of all, suppose if the electricity bill is coming in your name and you are making the
yeah.
payment, correct? You are making the payment. The reporting is on your part.
Okay,
Correct.
who is paying?
You are getting a reimbursement or not, that is a subsequent matter.
Okay. Fine, understood. Okay. Now, questions regarding IT refund of merge bank. What you explained in Dena Bank or whatever. Okay.
Yes.
If the old IFSC code is pre-validation, it says under process. Dena Bank
Right.
has given IFSC. Hello.
Yeah.
If it is, if
Yeah,
they give
can
us-
I explain? Charvik, can I
Yeah.
explain?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so now it is like this. My client has an account with Dena Bank and we have put the old IFSC code in the return. And same pre-validation is showing under process. Now Dena Bank is giving a fresh IFSC code is different from what Bank of Baroda is giving. And both the IFSC codes are failing.
Parulben,
And my refund is stuck up because they say that something wrong at the RBI levels.
Parulben, I just saw the IFSC
Yes.
which you have given in the chat. The fifth
Yes.
alphabet, it should be an alphabet. The fifth digit should be an alphabet. In the case you have
No. See, no. Dena Bank has given me BARB0, DBGHTE. And Bank of Baroda has given me BARB0, GHAEAS.
But in any case, the fifth digit should have been O and not 0.
Okay, it's BARB or 0.
Oh.
It is 0. Because always the fifth number is 0.
Digit has to be number. Charvik,
The
it should be
fifth
number.
is a number, 0.
It should be number, Charvik.
Okay.
Okay, we called up the income tax also, and we took a certificate from Dena Bank, and we scanned and sent it at the income tax, but still the pre-validation is failing. The refund is not getting sanctioned. What to do?
A call at the IT helpline in Delhi, whereby they will try to help it out for getting this work done. IT helpline, that's Delhi, huh? You need to call for the refund. I think on the site also the number has been mentioned. You need to call there, and you need to do the necessary follow-up, whatever has to be done for this.
No, all
Because
the
this is a
papers
technical
were scanned and sent. No, even at the income tax, all the papers have been scanned and sent, but no reply at all there.
It will see
sorry
there is a CPC Bangalore where they are receiving the papers. CPC Bangalore,
CPC Bangalore.
Send. No, I'm telling you just CPC Bangalore.
Yes.
If you scan the papers, and by scanning to whom you sent?
To the income tax on the call, they gave an help desk email address.
Okay. So this is.
I think Manish bhai,
Yeah.
Manish bhai, here what she can do is she has to link this bank account, also make an updation on her personal profile of the SSC. And if the bank accounts are linked properly and been updated on the
she told us that it is showing.
No, Mahendra. They say that this bank account is not linked. The link with the PAN, but bank has given a certificate. It is linked with the PAN.
Okay, but unless because it is a technological issues, unless the computer will match these numbers, which you will have to do updations from the SSC's login, and you will have to update that bank account on your portal also in the personal profile. Then it will get linked.
I did. That is what I did. Yeah.
Sorry, there are 2 or 3 more questions. Time is less. We will take it up with Manish bhai personally.
Okay, done.
No problem.
I'll call you up, Manish.
Charvik, you can share my number with the lady. No? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Manish bhai.
Yeah, thank you.
Manish bhai, 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Donation is given between April 20 to June 20 for financial 1920. The limit of 10% of. Sorry.
Can you repeat
donation given?
Donation given, yes.
Yeah. Donation given between April 20 to June 20 for financial 1920. The limit of 10% of gross total income will be considered for financial 1920 or 2021.
1920, no?
1920.
Since you are claiming the deduction in 1920.
Yes. Suppose the person bought a car after April 20, but before June
April 20, correct?
After 2020, but before June 20, he is allowed to claim additional depreciation on account of extension of due date till 30th June.
No. The specific, it was there. Your purchases should be from 23rd August 2019 till 31st March 2020, and it should be put to use before 31st March 2020. Then only the benefit of the additional higher rate of depreciation is given to you.
Okay. Some last questions. As a trust, what you explained for RIIT and all that, as a trust, these INVT and RIIT are required to file ITR 7. Then what is the rationale behind inserting table for pass-through income in these ITRs?
Just to have the additional information for, what happens, the taxability of this income.
Yes, sir.
For this pass-through entity is in the hands of the person who is receiving the income. Correct? So suppose if any interest is received by trust on account of investment in REIT or it's a INVIT, but the TDS deduction also will be claimed by the trust.
Yes.
So it needs to fill the details of whatever income each had from the trust, from the respective INVIT or REIT, and whatever TDS deduction is there, which it is claiming.
Fine, sir. Another one question regarding ATG only. For claiming deduction under say ATG, assessee
Right.
can make a donation during Q1 of financial 2021, that is June 20, and
Right.
still ATG can claim in financial 1920.
Correct.
How it will be matched? How it will be matched or confirmed by the department when ITR of sub-recipient of donation will include and file such donation in next financial year of ITR? The question is how it will be matched by the department.
Yes, yes. See, you will put the details of the party's PAN number, name of the
Yeah.
trust, amount you make, correct now? Now, how the matching will be done by the department, I don't have the idea because 26 years current year also doesn't provide many information. But you will get the
Yes.
benefit. Your benefit will not be denied.
Okay.
Manish is talking about double deduction being claimed. Like, supposingly, I am claiming the. Let's say I'm paying the donation today. Okay,
Right.
I show it 2020 also, 2021 also. બદમાશી કરું છું boss. Any simple વસ્તુ છે. Can I do so? Yeah.
સાહેબ, બદમાશી કરવા માટે તો એવું છે ને.
maybe you will receive notice for mismatch. Like we
Yeah,
receive
exactly.
mismatch even in salary, interest, TDS, everything. Then you
Yeah,
explain
yeah,
that this is what we have done.
Yeah, possible.
Manish bhai,
Yes, Bhavan, yes.
some question relating to 44 AD only. I think might be repeated, but just check it out.
Yeah.
That, sir, can you please explain provisions relating to audit in detail? If turnover is more than 1 crore, but less
More
than
than
5
1
crore,
Right.
but less than 5 crore, and
Right.
NP source is only 2%. Assuming cash payment is less than 5%, do assessee need to
Okay.
get his account books of audited?
Yes.
Manish, I think it's better if you just explain the 44 AD provisions. So many questions will be covered
Yeah.
in
Okay.
2-3 minutes.
Yes, yes. No problem. Yes. So in this case, see the whatever amendment has been made by the Finance Act 2020.
Yes, sir.
Finance Act 2020, whatever amendment has been made, whereby what it says, if the turnover is between 1 crore to 5 crore, and you are meeting the criteria of 95% check payments, other
Yeah.
than cash payment, I can say,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Then under 44 AB, the audit provisions will not apply to you. Now again, it is subject to the 44 AD also, where the separate condition is there for 1 to 2 crore. So as
Yes.
we have discussed previously, in 1 to 2 crore, the audit will come into picture if you are showing income below 6% or 8%, as the case may be. Correct? If you are showing income, if you have a turnover between 1 to 2 crore, then audit will come. But if your turnover is above 2 crore,
Yeah.
if your turnover is above 2 crore and below 5 crore,
Yes, sir.
then, and if you are meeting a 95% criteria,
Criteria.
then even in the losses, you can offer the losses also. If you have a loss,
Right.
right now, there is no need to do the tax audit under section 44 AB.
Understood, sir.
Only
Any questions?
95% criteria you need to meet it off.
Yes. Okay. Understood, sir.
I'll take just
So,
a minute. In case of the firm, care has to be taken for 44 AD, particularly when the proviso is being removed under the subclause 2 for the partnership firms, where the partners' interest and remunerations are not been allowed. If it is between 1 crore to 2 crore, most extra care has to be taken while opting for 44 AB, not going for 44 AD.
Correct.
And condition may hit. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, my dear. Thank you.
Bhavan bhai, now only one question, please.
Yeah. In case of NRI, do
Yeah.
we need to disclose the foreign bank details? Also in ITR, should be selected right if he has not visited since 2016? Means whether we
Can
should
you
select
repeat the question,
ITR.
Bhavin?
In case of NRI, he has not
Yes.
visited in India since 2016. Do we need to disclose the foreign bank details? There is one question. Second, whether he has to select NRI criteria for filing ITR.
I think when we are filing the return for the NRI,
Yes, sir.
are we disclosing the foreign bank accounts of them? We are not disclosing. We are offering the
think,
income.
Yeah, no.
We are offering the income which is derived in India. tax in
Yeah.
India, income which accrues in India. On that
Yes,
only
sir.
we are paying it of tax.
Fine. So no need.
Yeah.
Okay. Manish bhai, so I think we are end of all the questions. You have taken all the questions very beautifully. You have answered all the questions, sir. I think we are coming to the closing of the session. Is there anything you want to discuss? Any more thing? Hello, Manish bhai.
No, nothing.
Hello.
Nothing. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question is there? I
So,
can, if time permits, I can
think we
answer
are-
it.
already time is up, and I think we already taken all the questions, sir. So, sir, we are really thankful to you for accepting our invitation. And we all know, sir, I'll just inform you that today total 250 participants was, the capacity was full. We received so many calls and messages that why there's limit of 250, but because of application of GoToMeeting, we can't enroll more than people. And to the first session is there that total capacity was there, it was over capacity. So thankful, we are really thankful to you for giving your time and explaining the provisions as well as the ITR, the amendments, as well as the ITR, all forms in details. You have taken a lot of pain, and you know, sir, whenever we come to questions of IT, we have only one answer, is Manish bhai. From last so many years, we are calling you for this. We are really thankful to you. On behalf of all the members and behalf of all the conveners, we request all of them to give a hearty vote of thanks. Sir, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just,
Thank you, Manish. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
just one more
We are
announcement.
closing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one more announcement to all the participants. We'll be keeping a lecture on auditing. There will be a series. That will be a two-part auditing standards. We will be announcing the details. Shortly. So we are requesting everybody to attend those lecture, and it is compulsory by ICI also. Thank you all.
Thank you. We are closing session.
you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks,
Thank
Manish
you.
bhai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charit.
Thanks.
Thank you, Manish bhai.